Last week we told you about a human smuggling operation the Biden White House has been running out of Laughlin Air Force Base in Texas. The goal of the operation is to resettle illegal immigrants throughout the country, throughout the interior, without the knowledge or permission of the people who live in those places, otherwise known as the public, the voters. They can't know. We got a tip that this was happening. So we called both the Pentagon and ICE, and they were forced to confirm that it is happening. The question we couldn't answer is, where are all these foreign nationals going? Where are they being flown? Well, tonight we have some indication of that. According to air traffic records, a 737 operated by a charter airline departed Laughlin Air Force Base last week. It headed to the former England Air Force Base in Alexandria, Louisiana. Do the people who live there know? Where did it go from there? Where did all the people on the plane go? We don't have the answer to that. We've also, by the way, obtained video of a civilian plane using Laughlin Air Force Base in Texas. The footage on the screen right now was taken by a local man called Frank Lopez Jr. So it's definitely happening. We did not make it up. The question is, what are Republicans in the Congress doing to stop it? Well, as it turns out, the Republican who represents Del Rio, Texas in the Congress, Tony Gonzalez, is the very person who petitioned ICE to use Laughlin Air Force Base in the first place to move foreign citizens to the rest of the country. We know that because he put out a press release about it on June 5th. Gonzalez asked the acting assistant secretary of the Air Force for installations, someone called Jennifer Miller, to use the runways at Laughlin Air Force Base, quote, to fly migrants to their final destination rather than releasing them in the Del Rio area. Congressman Gonzales added this, quote, by utilizing Laughlin Air Force Base, ICE could address the high number of migrant releases and alleviate the pressure that this crisis has inflicted on border communities, end quote. So in other words, Tony Gonzalez doesn't want to deal with illegal immigrants in large numbers in his community, and that's totally understandable. Very few communities want that. They've never asked for it. No one's ever voted for this because nobody actually wants it. What's harder to understand is why Gonzalez and a lot of other members of the Republican Party aren't trying to protect the rest of the United States and stop this mass outbreak of lawlessness, an outbreak, by the way, that's about to get a lot worse very soon. A senior administration official has confirmed to Joe Simonson of the Washington Free Beacon that a new flood of illegal migrants from around the world is on the way. The official said the White House is about to suspend Title 42. That's a regulation that's been used by the CDC to block migrants from entering this country on public health grounds, like during a pandemic, for example. Turns out COVID isn't a big deal when foreigners have it and bring it to this country. It's fine, and you're a racist if you think otherwise. So they're repealing the rule. Once that happens, the administration expects an even bigger wave on our border, and then at some point in your neighborhood, because they'll be flown at your expense there. Do Republicans know this? Of course they do. Do they care? That's an open question.